Hey, folks, and welcome to Creepy Conversations from the Castle. This is Bobby J. Gallo, your host, and we're coming to you live from Castello Gallo in Roseto, Pennsylvania. And why do we call this a castle? Because it's a 1924 brick house that looks like a castle. So we say Creepy Conversations from the Castle. And we're going to do some quick housekeeping, and then I'm going to bring on my guest because I really don't want to waste any time. Just to let everybody know, right now, our current audience counts right now on Facebook, we have about 6,000 followers. On Twitter, we have about 8,000. And on YouTube, we are now over 43,000, or actually closer to 45,000, but who's counting? So that being said, I know there's a lot of people that are going to be coming on tonight to watch the show because of this next guest. Now, folks, I got to tell you, it was a real stroke of luck to be able to get this gentleman on because he's a true icon in the paranormal industry. Now, you all have seen him on Haunted Collector, the television show where they investigated haunted objects, which is really something that really piques my interest because I've run across a few myself. And just some of our long form content is you've seen that deals with haunted objects, particularly a haunted sword, which I consulted John on. So maybe we'll touch upon that a little bit. All of a sudden, also he was on the infamous Amityville case. That's where, more towards the beginning of his career. But you know what? I don't want to waste any more time. We're going to bring him right on. Okay, here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary John Zaffis. How you doing, John?
I'm doing good, buddy. How you doing?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Yep.
And I can hear you good too. And you look good. You look great.
Thanks.
You look tan, rested and ready here, ready for the interview. Now,
thanks.
I want to thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you asking me to come on. Definitely.
Well, I heard from somebody made a comment while I was promoting this appearance of yours that wherever you go, things start to happen.
That's what I hear.
But for you, it's common. So you probably don't always recognize it because you're used to it.
Okay. I think what you're talking about is, the one thing I wanted to clarify was the Amityville horror. I didn't actually work on the case. Okay. Ed and Lorraine, my aunt and uncle, did. They had called and said, "Hey, we're working on a case in Long Island. You want to go?" I said no because I had school the next day. What a mistake that was for me. But years later, I did have the opportunity with George Lutz. I lectured with him several different times.
Oh, really?
Got friends with him and got to be good friends with one of the boys, Chris. So on the back end of it is where I came in on the Amity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. See, yeah. I didn't know that. And thank you for clarifying that. That's important that we get things down as accurately as possible for posterity.
I try.
But I did want to tell you that in the beginning, while I was rolling the timer, just before the timer, I wanted to put up the banner that I made with you and I on it. And it wouldn't go up. It wouldn't. That's the first time that's ever happened. And I'm saying to myself, it's starting. I think they might be right. Because I don't know if a lot of people know. Wow, John, just to let you know before I go any farther, we're already up to 205 viewers.
Fantastic.
I'm looking at you. Look up there. We have 205 people. So everybody, just to let you know, there is a chat. And I already see people in the chat, and I will put up these chats in just a second. There's already people commenting. We're up to 270 now, people watching live. Okay, but what a lot of people don't realize is that you have a personal collection of haunted objects, like your own little museum.
Yeah, it's a barn on my property. Originally, years ago, when I had my office down in the lower part behind the garage, I'd have, some of my items in there, and I kept them in a smaller barn on the property. Then I just started getting so much that I put a barn up on the property. I finished the interior, and now I have all my stuff in here. It's so bad now, Bobby, that hoarders would love to do episodes in here. But if they ever tried to throw my stuff out,
Yeah, for sure. And I tried to give you one not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to give you an addition to your collection because we ran across a haunted sword, and I have good reason to believe it is. And the crazy thing about this sword is the way it was exhibiting strange EMF properties. I ran across an exact copy of this, or replica or duplicate or doppelganger, whatever you want to call it, 15 years ago. And I almost thought it was following me, to be honest. I mean, have you ever ran across an object would actually follow someone?
I think the craziest thing I've ever heard of or got involved with is particular items that have been in the family for generation after generation. So, they'll give it to somebody else, or they'll get rid of it. They swear they put it in a safe deposit box, ends up back in the house. So a lot of situations like that I do hear about. And it does get bizarre, and it does get crazy. Because, when people start sharing these stories with you about, haunted objects, because I don't believe they could be possessed. I think only people and animals could be possessed. So, again, energy attachment, yes. Some could be good, some could be bad. I mean, I think, there's a lot of Aunt Tilly's haunted different types of things at Grandma and Grandpa in comparison to being anything negative. So, but yeah, I definitely could say I've heard, especially there was this one with this particular ring that was in their family for several generations. One would give it to the sister, one would get it back, and go back and forth. And it just got totally bizarre with the whole ring. So yes, I have heard of that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And just recently, like I was saying during my monologue, that I live in a 1927, 28, very storied house in my town. And recently on our property, we found an old doll from the 1920s buried in the roots of a tree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I put it on Facebook. We had it in our basement. This thing has vanished. We don't know where it is. And it's kind of creepy. Remarkably well preserved, too, because it was a cloth doll. And there was virtually no deterioration.
Interesting.
In the ground for literally almost a century. So, yeah, I've had a lot of experience with haunted objects. A pair of dowsing rods that was holding a weird EMF charge. You have tons of these things. What is the one object in your barn that really kind of every time you go to that barn, you get this like really weird feeling?
Oh, again, with a lot of them, I just look at them. Yeah, when it comes into the items, I think the ones that I'm more guarded with and keep my guard up with is ritual items that have been used in different types of things. And, it has a lot of negative energy, and that's done with intent and purpose. So therefore, that's going to really hold on to quite a bit of negative stuff. So there's, again, many items that I've removed from cases that are, on that negative level, where I still keep my guard up. Because, again, like I said, the energy that's associated with ritual items, that's done with intent and purpose. Mm-hmm. So therefore, what's with it will affect you or me or anybody that comes in contact with those things. Because I believe a lot of times, when holding items or dealing with the items, we call that psychometry, that, picking up the vibrations from it, you can actually trigger something on a negative level also on those types of items.
Wow. That's really fascinating. And approximately what's the number of objects you have in your barn?
I have no clue.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't even tell you. Boxes are piled up. Wow. I've outgrown the barn quite a while ago. In any given week, I could still, to this day, I work on cases, where I could end up with 2 or 3 different items, coming in. A lot of times I just leave them in the boxes and don't even pull them out. And the biggest reason I do that is I just don't have the room to set stuff up. So, I still keep looking. Hopefully someday I'll find a brick and mortar building that, I can actually afford to set the museum up in, and it'll be able to carry on long after I'm gone.
Now, is it set up like a museum at the present
time?
It is.
Yeah, I don't have it open to the public.
Right.
I mean, again, I'm one of those. I know so many people and everybody, and I live right maybe a mile inland off of 95. I live on the coast in Connecticut. People don't think too much of it. They say, Johnny, you home? You home? Come on over. I've had more of my paranormal friends just stop by randomly, and show them the museum, and they come through. But, as far as, bringing people in or doing anything, I had stopped doing that several years ago with opening it up with the public, and it's not structured that way, Bob, so I got to be careful.
Of course you do.
And people like to take things, so you got to be even extra careful. So I had that happen a couple of times too.
It's one of my cardinal rules of investigating: never take anything home from an investigation. And folks, it's doubly true where John lives, okay? Because when I say it, I'm just assuming something might be haunted. With you, everything in there is already assumed that there is an energy attached, whether it's positive or negative, we don't know. But there is something going on, or wouldn't be in your barn to begin with.
The only thing I do question is sometimes dolls. I mean, I think I'm the oldest man on earth that has the biggest doll collection going. So there's so many of them. And a lot of times people, I'll be talking, I don't want this doll. And I'll be like, all right, when they'll send it, or, they'll have 6 or 7 dolls and they're creeped out by one and they can't figure out which one it is, and they'll just send all of them. So that's the one thing I'll say, allegedly, with some of the dolls, I would question it. But every time I do that, then somebody, because I do believe strongly in psychics and mediums, I've worked with them my entire career, they'll hold one of them and start picking up on stuff, and I go, all right, well, I guess it's haunted. They're picking up on something off of it, so that answers that part of it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And do you think there's any correlation between all the energy that you have on your property and the fact that you go into places and people are saying that you're bringing this energy with you? I'm just assuming. I don't know this. I'm just a conjecture on my part.
You might find out one of these days, Bobby. You never know.
I want to investigate with you. That's on my bucket list.
I have one, John Ruggiero in New Jersey. I do events for him all the time.
Yes.
Every time I get together with him and do this one Camp Evans, we had a tornado. We had to all go down in the basement. We had a major hurricane that came through. Then a major storm. Electricity went out. Every time I go, something ends up happening. And John says to me, he goes, I'm not asking you to do anything anymore. He goes, I don't know what it is what you do. So now it's just a running joke with us. And again, too, a lot of times when I do go to locations, things are quiet and there isn't that much going on. I'll walk in the room and right away they start getting a lot of activity. Things will kick up, and they'll go, Johnny, it's you. And I go, yeah, I've been hearing that for years. I said, I don't know what it is, but
that's amazing. Well, I have a few ideas what it is, and that's why we're on the show. Hey, before we go any farther, I just want to recognize everybody in the chat. First of all, there's 277 people watching live all across the world. And we have, let me see what we got here. We got Debbie, Jenny, April. These are some of my favorite people. Psychic Medium Sybil, Mark from the UK, Marcus Antonius. That's Mark Irwin from the UK. We have Lourdes Gonzalez. We have
Yeah.
Ron
I'm
Yacovetti.
Poppy. Ron, yep.
all good friends of both of ours. So, yes, they're just phenomenal people. So all my good friends are watching the show tonight, which I am incredibly grateful for. I'm very blessed to have friends like this.
Absolutely. Me too.
Yeah. Oh, man. Amen. You're Greek.
Yes.
You're Greek. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. A lot of, I don't know if you're practicing in the Greek Orthodox, a lot of mysticism there, though.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Big time. I'm very, with me, with all religions, I don't care what religion it is or practice or anything, I've always been very intrigued and study everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, stop and think about it. Where do our roots come from? Egypt, Greece, Rome, again, that's where everything all started and brought it, to the forefront. The Mayans, all these practices and different things like that, I'm very intrigued with, because here again, we can intertwine it with so much that happens today in 2025. It's right. Amazing if you look at it and you line the different things up. So I very, very much into a lot of that. I mean, as far as, again, being Greek and Polish, again, my mom was Polish and Slovak, so, more of that heritage. But the Greek heritage, we used to celebrate Greek Christmas and things like that years ago when all the family was still alive. So I don't care too much for Greek food.
Really? I like Spanakopita.
Everybody loves it. I just, I'd rather have Italian food. My wife's Italian. I love Italian food.
Oh, that's funny.
And that's close enough.
My wife's a big Italian food person. She's French, and she would rather have Italian food.
Yeah.
April, I'm going to ask him about Haunted Collector in a second, but first I have to say, between the Italian and the Greeks, there's an old saying, una faccia, una razza, which means one face, one race.
Opa!
Opa! Opa! I knew a Greek guy, right? And he gave me a bottle of Ouzo once. And he said, here, drink this and make your wife more beautiful.
Oh, that stuff will knock you right on your butt in a heartbeat.
April, who was telling me that years ago she used to chat with you on Facebook. She has a great forum she was my last guest on this show. A great forum on Facebook called Ghost Advice, which is where I cut my teeth. And she's she wanted to ask you about Haunted Collector. Now, that was also one of my favorite shows. So many people look back at that with you and Brian. It was just a phenomenal show. Is there are you ever going to do anything else like that again?
I used to say no, I don't want nothing. When we first did Haunted Collector, it was new because nobody else was doing it.
Right.
And I knew what was going to end up happening, and working with the production guys and trying to explain to the production guys, when you're doing different things, and people would say, oh, he's always taking items out of houses. It was Haunted Collector. We weren't going to talk about possessions. We weren't going to talk about hauntings. But a lot of people would say, oh, he's taking grandma's heirlooms and things like that. I mean, we got beat up bad. Yeah. Real bad. So did the kids, Brian, and everybody else associated with it. But look at it now. Everybody's opening up museums. Everybody's got a collection. Yep. It opened the doors up. Back then, I took it a little bit more personal and compared to what I take it now.
Sure.
But again, we broke the ground. We broke down that barrier. And it opened up for everybody talking about these items and talking about the different things that do occur and happen with them. Now, Would I ever consider doing a show again in the future? Yes, I would.
Okay.
You know, what I like, what they do today with a lot of things is that they'll do, 6 episodes or, X amount, where you're not out on the road for 3 and 4 months at a time. That I do not like. That one of the key things with third season was we were traveling filming. It was Easter time, and we ended up in a Kentucky Fried Chicken to have a meal.
Okay.
I looked at all 5 of the kids and I go, this will never happen again on a holiday. And I would to this day, I would never do that again. Because I was just uncomfortable with it.
Sure.
All the production people were like, well, geez, we do this all the time. I go, well, good for you. I said, I want to be home with my kids, my grandkids, and family on holiday. So, but yeah, no, would I consider doing something in the future and it was the right perspective? Yes. Would I want to bring some of the production people I worked with in the past, to work with some of them? Yes, I would love it. Do I want to take some of the characters, that were on the show, one of my 5 kids or a couple of the kids? Yes. I think it'd be great, to go back and look at some of that. And today you're a lot more liberal too. We're liberal compared to back then. We had to be careful with certain things and saying certain things and doing certain things because if you offend your sponsors, you offended the networks. It was amazing the amount of attorneys you end up dealing with. It's crazy. I mean, I call it the machine, because by third season I was helping produce and lining things up. I loved it, getting into the meat of it to do it. And that helped me a lot to understand, quote unquote, what production's about. A beginning, a middle, and an end that you need for a TV series. So again, but yeah, again, I would if the right project came about to work on. Yeah.
I think everybody wants you to do it. And I think everybody wants you to do it because not only are you one of the most knowledgeable people in this field, but you're so warm and genuine. And I think the genuine part that might even be the most important part, because we see the climate, we see what we're dealing with in the paranormal today. And, I think the focus has become people wanting to be where you are and not really pursuing paranormal for what I consider maybe the right reasons. I mean, everybody's right reasons might be different. I think proving the existence of the afterlife is really should be the main goal here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Again, 53 years. I'm still chasing Casper all over the place. How many answers do I have? A few, but one of the key things, and you come to terms with it, I think, is the fact that there's so much that happens, Bobby, we're never going to be able to prove it. It's this whole realm, the supernatural, as we call it, of the unknown. Why? It is what it is with a lot of it. I joke now so much about a lot of different things when they occur and happen. But Bobby, I love watching people's faces when they experience something for the first time. I sit there and I'll start laughing, and it takes me back to being a kid because my uncle did it to me. Things would happen or occur. He'd sit there and start laughing, and I go, well, what are you laughing about? And he would just laugh even more. Now I know why. So, but learning and documenting. I mean, the equipment and everything that's out there today, phenomenal. I don't even know how to turn most of it on. I wouldn't even know how to use half of it. But I love watching. I'll go over, look at it. What are you doing? What are you doing? And they'll show me and explain it to me. And I'm like, cool. And then when they capture something, I think that's even cooler. So gathering all this information and everything, someday I'm hoping we'll be able to chart it. Because, in a scientific perspective, for somebody to prove out anything scientifically, you have to have repeatability. Now, I come from an engineering background, pharmaceutical. So picture that, and now I'm chasing ghosts, right? Yeah. So again, that's what I did. The laparoscopic that they use for surgery today, I was involved with that when they were starting to develop that years ago. Yeah. Then my company, after 30 some odd years, they started slowing down. We got laid off anyways. I went out and started chasing more ghosts. But, that occupied my time. But again, with all of that, that's still my fascination with this field. It's that journey, that quest. Are we ever going to be able to prove out these different things? Is there a hell? Is there a heaven? Do these things exist? I don't rule them out. I have to hold on to foundation of things and many different perspectives. But, again, how can we even rule out aliens or anything? How did all these hieroglyphics on these mountains, how did they know to make them and you can only see them from up in the sky? How did they build the pyramids? All these things tie in, and it's all the things we'd love to get answers to. We still don't have them.
Oh, I totally agree with you. It's very fascinating that you were in the pharmaceutical industry. Jenny Colucci, who's watching right now, who's in who already was in the chat. She's a physicist and turned paranormal investigator. And it warms the bottom of my heart to see people of science grappling with the paranormal, because too many times you see it, they're broken up into factions. They're on one side or the other side. And the people in the side, they're materialists, and they don't want to know anything about the paranormal. But I think it takes an open mind, and I think it takes a person of high intelligence, especially if they're already in the scientific field, to recognize that there's something that they can't quantify.
That's what's interesting.
Right.
And that's what, everybody takes that big step back. But today we're able to cross that threshold where at least they look and they'll think about it. Right. It's not cut and dry anymore. I remember, hanging with all my engineer friends and, all the different things and everything. What did you do last night? Where'd you go? What'd you see? I mean, how does this, at break time when we be taking a break, several of the higher ups in this corporation I worked with thousands and thousands of people, I run into some of them going to meetings or something like that. They grab me in the hallways and go, what have you seen lately? What have you been around? What happened? I mean, it's amazing, people were intrigued even back then. They wouldn't talk about it publicly, but they were still intrigued about it. Now, again, it's just looked at so much differently in our world.
It's very funny because my brother is a vice president of a printing company in New York City. And recently at my nephew's wedding, I met for the first time all of the people that he works with, including his peers and the president of the company and everything like that. And all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, once they knew what I did, they were all telling me their ghost stories, things my brother never even knew. And he didn't want me to say anything because he didn't want to look like a jerk. But the bottom line is now all of a sudden he realizes that everybody believes in this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it makes it a little difficult, I'll tell you, especially with me, too, because a lot of times when we go to a family event or something like that, I don't like to take away from like the bride and the groom or the person's birthday or anniversary or something, because I go through the same exact thing. Everybody gravitates. What are you doing? What are you working on? What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. And I feel bad because I don't, like that. There with everybody else. I want to have a good time, eat, get drunk, and dance. I want to be left, just have a good time.
I hear you. And that being said, and while we're on the subject of people believing, a lot of people ask me, they say, well, let me ask you, do you really believe in ghosts? And I always answer it the same way. I say, I passed the point of belief a long time ago. Where do you stand on this? I'd be very interested to hear that.
Do I believe in ghosts? I believe in so many different aspects of the supernatural field. There's nothing I don't keep an open mind to. Do I believe, quote unquote, as a ghost? or the energy, the spirit of soul or soul of a human being or an animal can portray itself to us? Yes. Can they repeat things? Yes. Can they go back and forth from wherever they are up on their fluffy cloud or whatever, come back into our reality, our realm? Yes. I've seen too much. I've experienced too much to not believe. I can't prove or disprove a lot of different things.
You don't have to.
But that's what people say to me. Well, how do you feel when you come up against a skeptic? I don't. I have, they believe or they don't believe. There's an abundance of information and things that are out there. And again, as far as being skeptic, I don't have a problem with that. Again, if they end up discovering something is fraudulently done or made up or something like that, I have no problem with that, going to the forefront. It is what it is. But with the supernatural, I'll always be intrigued until, someday when I turn into Casper. So
hey, we're all going there. That's for sure.
We're all going there, yeah.
But so you would agree, because I picked up on something you just said. Consciousness, soul, spirit. I believe those are all different names for the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
You agree with that?
Yes. Yeah. Again, we know, and it's been proven out scientifically and documented, what repeatability. Gosh, I forgot how many ounces it is that leaves the body at death. I forgot. It's three or six. I can't remember.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
When that first came out, I was like, cool. Finally, cool. Something documented scientifically. So it was, again, something that I look to and try to understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, like with cold and hot spots, and people can determine this and rule out any logical things. I think that's super cool too, right? Especially when they can repeat that. So I'll do. Like I said, and people laugh. They go, John, the craziest things get you excited. You get riled up.
At all.
I'll get riled up over some of the most interesting things that can happen or can transpire. Here's a good example. Gettysburg is my favorite place to go. I have been going down there for so many years. I know all the people that own the businesses and everything down there. So when I go to town, it's like, a big party is going to break out. But anyhow, we were there. We used to do these getaways in the wintertime. About 8 of us would get together, and it would be like in February or so. But anyways, one of the young ladies with us, her name is Jen. And again, a very prominent person in our society, and was very skeptical, didn't believe in anything. We were in this one location. We were doing this. I love the spirit box. You could get, I don't like the noisy one with all the crackle. I can't stand that. I get a headache. But yeah, I like it where it's clear. But anyways, she was able to establish a communication. She went back and forth, and she was able to communicate with her dad. And she just sat there and she looked at, because she calls me old man. She looked at me and just started crying. She goes, "Oh man, I can't believe this." I said, "Well," I says, here again, this is some of the proof, that helps people to understand some of these things that we can't prove or disprove, but they happen. And he came forth. She asked one question that she said, if anybody was going to be able to answer it, and if it was her father, he would answer it, and he did. And that's when she lost it. She lost it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you like the Ovilus type of apps, like that have the dictionary, the built-in dictionary of words.
Oh, I like the Equivoc. That I always mispronounce it, but anyhow, ever since that came out, I've used that because you don't have to have any of the noise in the background or anything. And I've had, some good experiences with it.
Yeah.
Some good communications that come back and forth. We just used it a couple. I was up in Massachusetts with Dustin Perry. We were doing an event, and we were going back and forth. And Dustin walked into the room. I said, "Uh-oh," and I had it on. And Dustin walked in the room, and I go, "Uh-oh." Dustin just walked in and went, "Dustin," and he goes, "I can't stand you, old man." And he walked right back out. And I go, "Well, what do you?" He goes, "I don't know if you just did that under your breath or that just came over the cell phone or not.
That's crazy. You know, Daniel Roberg, who
developed it.
He's a very good friend of mine.
Yep.
And we just used it at Gettysburg. And my daughter got an unbelievable communication. The soldiers were literally clear as a bell telling us to get off the field. They wanted us off the field. And then we were in Spangler Spring, and we got a communication about the West Virginia lads that were killed on the battlefield. So somebody sees this on YouTube and says, oh, there were no West Virginia troops at Gettysburg. And then a Gettysburg historian came in and said, yes, there were. And they were near Spangler Spring. And so I could attest that's an amazing app. And if you use it on an iPad or a tablet, it works extremely well.
Yes. I've been very thankful to Michael all these years for that one app. I use the original. So, I mean, if he's watching the show, he'll probably bust out laughing. I've always just liked the original one. I've never wanted to change it or alter it. Because to me, I feel like it's going to change something.
Right.
To me, if something's not broken, don't try to fix it. So
he did put out something called an Echovoc Touch, where you actually, it's a cross between a manual and an automated. So you run your fingers across, and it's actually pretty good. But anyway, we're going to give Echovox a free plug on this show, folks. You can get on the Google Play Store. Give Dan Roberg some business there. It is an awesome. If John Zaffis is using it, you should be using it too. Okay. So, like how I do my little commercials there. Now, speaking of Gettysburg, you are going to be at the Bash. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Gettysburg Bash. Last year was my first year going.
Okay.
I loved it. I had a blast. It was the greatest time. Pam and Steve Berry put on a fantastic event. They raised a tremendous amount of money, for their charity and everything. I like it because it's very laid back and laxed.
Yeah,
everybody gets together. Everybody socializes. Everybody talks. Again, last year, Dave Schrader and I were bartenders, and we were having a blast. There were, a couple of other people, doing the bartending.
That's
also,
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely great. And David kept yelling at me. Dave Schrader kept yelling at me. He goes, oh, man, you're too slow. These people are waiting for their drinks. They're waiting for their drinks. And I'm like, geez, I couldn't pour them fast enough. Then some of the drinks I didn't even know how to make.
That's so cool. That's so cool. We normally vend there, but we're not going to vend there this year. But we are going to go down as just regular people. So we'll be walking through. We will definitely stop and say hi. And if we're there at the party at night, I'll buy you a drink.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. What do you drink? This is YouTube. We can talk about this.
You're probably going to laugh at this. The only thing I ever drink, and anybody and my friends that are on there, they're sitting there going, Coors Light in the bottle.
Okay.
Only thing I don't drink hard liquor. Again, too, I get too crazy, so I won't drink it.
It's not that you can't; it's that you won't.
Right.
I got you. Well, I'm a bourbon drinker, folks. We know this because I talk about it. So you're going to be at the Bash, and we'll be at the Bash as patrons, or I don't know what you would call somebody just walking through. So what else you got? You got a bunch of projects coming up. Let's start talking about those, because we are at 740 almost, and we're still at 272 people watching, which is awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
That is.
Well, this month. I always forget. Yeah, June 21st, I'll be doing Fort Mifflin with Steve Gonzalez, Dustin Perry, Tango, Chris Williams, and myself. Wow. Now, here's what's even more strange about that. Now, Fort Mifflin, I've been going there for so many years before anybody even knew it existed. I think the only other person that was there at that point in time was Dave Giuliano. Giuliano, he's another one. I've known him since,
great guy.
Absolutely. I mean, him and I and his wife, we go back many, years and years. But anyhow, that, the fort that saved America, they call it. It's one of those hidden gems. So anyways, we're going to be doing an event there in a few weeks. I know there's still a few tickets left for that one. So again, I'm looking forward to, I haven't been there in about 10 years. And it's going to be the first time all of us are back together there in about 10 years. So it's going to be cool. And I'm looking forward to it. Then in July, I got the Connecticut Paracon. That's up here in Waterbury, Connecticut. I'm kind of excited about that. That's July 12th and 13th. And Saturday night, I'm going to be doing a ghost hunt in a big old building in Waterbury, Connecticut. Yeah, that I've never been in it. I don't think that anybody else has ever investigated it.
Isn't that great when that happens, though?
I love doing something for the first time with people. Why? I experience it right along with everybody else. Exactly. So if they get the shit scared out of them, I get the shit scared out of me. I love it. And again, it's the best part of it. But that's one of the things I'll be doing, the Paracon in Connecticut, July 12th to the 13th. And we'll be at a school gymnasium there. So again, so many different things, but those are the two coming up that are going to be closed. In August, I have Lilydale in upstate New York, the old Spiritualist camp.
Oh, wow.
I'll be up there with Dustin and Brian Cano. We're doing a 3-day event up there. Again, I'm very excited about that. It's going to be a training session, a teaching session. Then all of us are going to be talking. I'm going to do a little demonstration with some haunted items and things. So it's going to be a fun weekend. Lilydale, again, I go back to so many years ago. We were working on a case up there. Ed and Lorraine, I was with them. I was a kid. And he decided he wanted to stop there. I had no idea what Lilydale even was.
Right.
So we were out walking around and everything. My aunt and uncle knew a few of the people that were there, and it was just totally amazing. And I don't know if you know who Tim Shaw is or not.
Sure.
Okay, Tim Shaw and him and I became friends. We met in one of the buildings. Him and I just sat there talking, and to this day, him and I have become the best of friends over all these years. So again, these are the things that, stick with me and mean a lot to me. I got another big con in September up in Maine, a Paracon that's going on up there. I have the New Jersey Paracon in November. There's a couple of I always post them up on the Facebook page, all the different events that I do, and the ones that I'm trying to remember right off the end.
That's awesome. You know what I absolutely love. And by the way, if I can get a listing of your events, we're going to put them in the description down below the video, so that when the thousands of people watch this in the next few weeks, they're going to have your listings, not just, this on the video, but also a listing where they can maybe click some links. What I really love about you doing Lilydale is because I see a little bit of it's kind of hubris of me to have any reflection of you in myself. But I would say that I love when you're doing Lilydale, because I also like to bridge the gap between paranormal as we know it, which is ghost hunting and things like that, with spiritualism.
Oh, yeah.
NDE research and all types of, because to me, it's all paranormal in the broad sense.
It's all supernatural.
Thank you.
It all falls under the same umbrella, no matter what. That's the root. That's our foundation. Communication, exactly. Spirit communication has existed. It predates anything that we're doing.
Absolutely.
Again, like I said, there isn't much of anything that doesn't fascinate me. I was there one time when they were doing table tipping, and I'd walk in the room, it would stop. I walk out, it would stop. Anyways, I did that 2 or 3 times. All it was the older women that were doing it. Oh my God! 3 or 4 of the old ladies started screaming, "Get out of here! You keep breaking it! You're breaking it! You're breaking it!" I was telling Tim about it, and Tim went, "Oh, don't get them all going! Don't get them going!" And I was laughing. I was like, every time I walked in there, it stopped, and it just amazed me. So later, what do? Me, everybody was done and everything. I go, up there in the room, and I'm looking to see if there's anything to be able to push the table legs up or anywhere. There was nothing. I mean, it was legit what was occurring and happening, but I just had to go look. My uncle looked at me. He goes, "What the hell are you doing?" I was looking to see if there's any wires or anything that were where they were pushing the table up, and he busted out laughing. He just started laughing. He goes, "Did you find anything?" I go, "No," and he started laughing more.
Well, technically every time we have a communication, even if it's with the SB7 or an Ovilus or anything like that, or an Echovox, we're technically doing a seance.
You know what? The funny thing, and we all try to keep things on an even keel.
Right.
And try to get people to comprehend and understand that.
Correct.
Spirit communication is spirit communication. I don't care how you dress it up, what you title it, it's still the same damn thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. Oh my God. I'm looking in the chat and people are just cracking up. You are really entertaining people tonight. I got it.
Again, this was always comical because we used to do, quote unquote, what my Aunt Lorraine would always say, spirit communication. And I go, well, it's a seance. She goes, no, it's not. She goes, it's spirit communication. I go, it's a seance.
Exactly.
And she would go, shut up, it's spirit communication. And I would just bust out laughing after a while. And then she would just look at me. She goes, you're a pain in the ass. Anyways, at the end of the day, again, it's all the same thing. Still the same thing. So, again, it's the way you look at it and interpret it, but you could dress it up, change it all you want. Still spirit communication.
Well, all I could say is, folks, as I'm counting, John Zaffis has agreed with me on 4 things so far. Okay. So there we go. It's validation. It's validation right here. Oh my God, you are so much fun. Oh, wait. Oh, Lourdes says, you are my Uncle Johnny.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, Dad, when I was talking earlier, they were driving home from an event, and we were talking earlier, and then I called them right back. I go, where are you? They went, oh, we just went by, I said, well, turn around, come back. You're only 5 minutes away from the house. They were thrilled because they told them to come on over, and they went through the museum and everything. Oh, that's another perfect example. Now, again, we've hung out so many different times, and what Ron does with his communication is phenomenal. Oh, wait, let me tell you about it. We were up at the Shanley Hotel when he first started doing it and everything, and there were several of us sitting there. This story's, I still get upset over. Anyways, it's coming through. They do to us. What they do? They kill everybody. And it's going on and on. I'm sitting there looking at everybody else in the room, and I'm going, please tell me somebody else is hearing this. And 2 other people jumped up and they went, yeah. I go, is he picking up on something from Ukraine? It was right when the war first broke out. Wow. I lost it. I freaking lost. Lawrence will back me on that. She was standing right there and going back and forth. And where we were just talking about, I mean, it just, I to this day, that stays like it just happened. They tried to kill us. They did what they did to us. And there were several of us just sitting there, and we're all like, this can't be happening.
Wow, with the accents and everything.
Yes, it was like, Lord will tell you, it was like a little old lady came through. Ron's there too. He'll tell you. Yeah. And I just jumped up and I went, Ron, how the hell is this happening? What is going on? He goes, John. And then he was technically getting into it and explaining everything to me. I go, yeah. But that's a Ukraine old lady. I'm telling you right now, coming through. And it was something else. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
Never. No, I'll never forget it. Never.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Leaps and bounds that night with him with that equipment. Oh man. Oh.
There, Ron and Lourdes, obviously you're hearing this. To get that kind of an endorsement from John Zaffis, you guys should be very proud. You really should.
They should be proud. The both of them accomplished a lot.
Absolutely.
They're fantastic in the field. They dig into it. Again, that's a beautiful thing to me. Beautiful thing.
It is. And, I draw parallels between Ron and Gary Golka, who with his new XP7 Pro,
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are getting really close to creating that fabled Edison phone to the dead.
And that's one of Gary Gockel's prime things that he's been trying for. Yet another one. Look at what he's accomplished.
I know.
The equipment this man has made. I've been around him several times. I know him personally too. So again, doing what he does and why he does it, it's a beautiful tribute to his daughter that he
absolutely,
again, it's a situation that I take that step back and look at it, what that man has done to just try to keep that going and keeping that memory going of his daughter. Beautiful thing.
Oh, it really is. But many times it takes something like that to really put us on this journey, put us on this path. Even in my own personal life, the death of my father, and a subsequent communication from him through the medium, which I'm not going to get into on here because I've told that story many times, and this isn't about me, it's about you. But things like that really start us on this journey. And
absolutely.
So, nothing could replace them. And if we could turn back time and have them back, we would. But at least something comes out of that benefits the industry.
Yeah.
I just want to see people do this for the right reasons and not for just, you just look at YouTube and you can see people doing it for what I don't think are the right reasons. And,
well, again today, I sit back again like a lot of people and watch and look at some of the things that are occurring and happening. And at the end of the day, the roots of our work have disappeared. People don't want to take that time to see what's happening. Why is it happening? How is it actually affecting this individual? Are we able to do something to help it? That's not what it's about today with a lot of this stuff.
No.
Oh, what was that? Shh, there it is. Yeah, and it's like, okay, what? Okay, yeah, but it's not. The days of getting together and just having a few pieces of little equipment, going out to investigate and check things out. People don't do that no more.
Nope.
It's gone. It's gone. That foundation.
Yep.
Is gone. And that I don't ever foresee it coming back because it's gone. Again, and it bothers me terribly because I'm very old fashioned, as you can tell. I'm very, right down to going out when I do the interviews or anything like that. I still use my cassette recorder. I say,
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I want that hard, tape that there's something to keep and not something that's digital that you might end up losing off in the freaking cloud that's floating around up there. So I don't know. But anyhow, again, that I still do that and I'm comfortable with that, going in and sitting with 2 or 3 people, people that are picking up on things. What are you picking up on? Is it tying in with anything? Might be, might not. But again, to me, I still enjoy doing that. I'll never stop doing it that way.
I'm going to be honest with you, John. I feel exactly the same way. And in fact, April and I were talking about this when she appeared on the show last. And I still think some of my best evidence was the stuff I captured through EVP and infrared photography. The full body apparitions and that I got with infrared and some just mind-blowing, relevant, intelligent EVP, full sentences. Those are the things that really sell it for me. Not the REM pod going off again. I mean, I don't mind REM pods. Don't get me wrong. I think they have their place in an investigation. I do, if they're used correctly.
Yeah.
But it seems that's all I see people using. And that's the whole ghost hunt, is seeing how many times a REM pod could go off. When, like you said, I mean, how many people do you see these days using a temperature gun?
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it in years.
Exactly.
Years.
My point. That's my
years.
point.
Yeah. Years and years. You know, again, when I look at a lot of different things, like I said, you know, again, I like to experience things. This is a cool story. I got to share it with you.
Sure.
We were coming home from Pennsylvania one night. Ed and Lorraine, myself, and another researcher. We were going by what's known as Union Cemetery, known for the White Lady. Very well known case up here in Connecticut. Documented, right? Lorraine screams, "Stop the car! Stop the!" My uncle slams on the brakes. We all jump out. We're looking where the White Lady usually comes across, right? So we're all standing there. We're looking, and she walked right across at that point in time. And my uncle turns and looks at me, and he goes, "Your camera's in your hand." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You didn't even take any freaking pictures." I was in such awe of watching that energy walk across. He goes, "Jesus Christ, some researcher you are."
Oh, man.
I'll never forget that. Then Lorraine goes, "Oh dear, no new pictures."
That's crazy. Well, our most famous apparition was my daughter is watching this thing form through the LCD screen on the camera, and she's like, "Dad, you got to see this." She's taking pictures, and I'm like, "No, honey, we'll do evidence review later." And she's freaking out, telling me I got to look at it now, but I'm trying to be Mr. Professional here. And my best EVP is when we left our recorder on by mistake.
See?
Shut it off.
Yeah.
Go home, download the file, do evidence review, and mind blown. And I'll play that for you one of these days. I'm not going to tell you about it now because obviously this is your interview. But it's things like that. And I totally agree with you. I mean, we still use temperature guns because Dr. Harry Stafford, who was passed on now, was a very notable parapsychologist down in St. Augustine, Florida. And he's the one who trained us how to investigate. And his main thing was the temperature gun. He said the temperature anomaly is the one piece of paranormal evidence that goes back thousands of years. Cold spots in records as far back as you could remember. He said, so that's what you always want to look for first. And yet these days, nobody does it. So yeah, I totally agree with you that the old school methods, I miss them as well.
Yeah. I mean, here again, it's just so many cool, neat things that disappeared. The baby powder. I mean, that used to be the coolest thing, to spread it. And, sometimes if you would catch something or you wouldn't catch something. I've been around it, 20, 30 times. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 times something showed up in the actual baby powder. And the other times, no, it never did. But it was still cool to witness that.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Baby. But it's one thing I've never done. Now I got to do it.
And the bells. I still get the big kick out of the bells. They brought that back now. The bell that used to sit on the desk. Yes. I'm seeing all of them. They had it at one of the events I was at. I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking cool. The bell kept going off. I said, this is so cool. So I got the biggest kick out of it. I go, well, okay, there's something old that just got brought back.
For whom the bell tolls.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I want to do though? And I kind of need to construct it. Somebody was actually making these, but they sold out of them. You can't get them anymore. The old spirit trumpet from the Victorian age as a means to actually hear spirits. I mean,
I have one.
You have one? You need to do that on an investigation. Not that I should be telling you what to do. You should be telling me what to do. But I
think I got it from Tim Shaw.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
Oh, that's very, very cool. Yeah. I would like to do and maybe attach a EVP recorder to the end of the spirit trumpet. I think that would be cool.
Dude, I never thought of it, but I will now.
I gave John Zaffis an idea, folks. We're documenting that here. Okay. Okay, we got about a couple minutes left. What else do you want? Do you want to promote anything? How about your book?
ask it. There's several different books we have out there. I didn't even think to grab any, to be honest with you.
Just tell us where you can find them.
Just go to johnzaffis.com. The store there has all my merchandise listed on it. And if you want to go to Amazon, everything's on Amazon.
Okay.
My last several books I did with Debbie and Larry Elward. We've worked together for years. I've done 2 books with Rosemary Ellen Guiley, she was like my sister. I missed her so much. And again, my very first book I did with Brian McIntyre, who was a non-believer, and now the freaking guy's a priest. Figure that out.
That happens, though.
I totally converted him.
That's there you go. I'm blessing you right now, John, for doing that. That's awesome. That is so cool. So okay, so folks, johnzaffis.com, where you could find his books and anything else that he's actually has on the market. You're going to be at the Bash. You're going to be at Paracon up in Connecticut. You're going to be at Fort Mifflin.
Yep. And be up in Maine, the Maine Paracon. That's in September, I believe. Then the New Jersey Paracon. That's in November. Any of these events or anything I'm at, I usually always put them up on Facebook and a couple of the other news media. I'll have to be putting it on Tiki Tiki Talk Talk now.
Yeah. Okay, before we go, we need to touch upon that, because that was actually one of the reasons I brought you on the show. You started a TikTok account.
Yes.
Okay, why did you do that?
Because everybody drove me freaking nuts and kept telling me that I had to do some new shit. I had to get out some new platforms, because all I ever do is Facebook. And I'm like, all right. Then, you're always hearing about it on the news and everything. 1 million people on this one, 1 million people on that one. And so finally I went in, I started looking at it. Okay, I could get this set up. So I finally set it up, and everybody was like, oh my God, we can't believe he finally did it. I haven't put any videos on there yet. I'm trying to build a little bit of a base, with connecting with people. And any of my friends or anything, please go on there, follow me. And, again, as soon as it gets built up a little bit, I'll throw a few videos out there.
That's super. So everybody go to John's TikTok channel and follow him. That would be super. And obviously you could follow him on Facebook. Is there any other social media you want people to connect with you on?
It's usually just Facebook. That's my main thing, And I was so disappointed when MySpace disappeared.
Yeah, they come and they go.
I know.
Oh my goodness, Ron, you're too kind. There's definitely one legend here. The other one's a legend in training, but I try. So, John, you were absolutely amazing.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. Look forward to seeing you in July. Yeah, July will be in Gettysburg. That's when we forgot to mention too, the Gettysburg Bash.
Yes, so. I'm definitely going to make a point of seeking you out there just to say hi. And
if it's nighttime, I won't be out in the field looking for spirits. I'll be in the bar with everybody else.
With those spirits.
I'll be serving with Dave Schrader.
That's great. That's great. You are just the greatest guy.
Thank you, sir.
I can't really say it enough. So that's why I keep saying it, because I just wanted to get through. Folks, we're blessed to have him on the show tonight. John Zaffis, icon in the field. Can't wait to see him at the events. If you can make the events, I want you to do everything you can to go up to this guy, buy one of his books, support what he does. It's very important. And you know what? It's not self-serving to say it. Because I tell people to buy my books too, because it helps support what we do. And it's not like any of us get rich off of this stuff, but it does really help. It really helps.
It helps, but boy, because everybody often say to me, "How do I make a living off of this?" I said, "You don't.
You don't. You don't.
You don't."
I was just saying that to somebody today.
Yeah, I mean, again, and I joke with people. I'll say, I worked 40 years of my life. By the time I started doing anything full time, it was already, my house was paid off. My kids were all grown up. I mean, it was just happened to work out where I was able to do it full time. But tried to make a living off of it, won't work, especially today.
One last point. Is your daughter still investigating?
No. The kids are back working normal jobs and doing normal things.
I know she was doing some things for a while.
She did a lot of the research on items. She got a big. She was doing that even before the show because she used to like to look at the items and go look them up. And she go back, Dad, did you know this? Did you know that? And I went, no, but that's pretty cool and everything. That's how it got tied into the show. Because I said one day, she always looks up all the items, and the producer went, what? And I went, yeah. And he goes, oh, it all tied in.
well, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree there now, did it?
No.
But give her our regards and tell her that we still remember her doing that.
I most definitely will.
Okay, because she deserves a lot of credit. Okay, John, I think we're going to end it right here. Once again, you were absolutely amazing. Thank you for coming on. And I hope a lot of people come to your events because of this broadcast and visit your website and follow you on Facebook. And Lourdes, there's that sound again. It's something paranormal. Just kidding. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's check it out. Let's investigate.
We're on it, folks. We're on it. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.